You've probably sitting there and thinking about AI agents and likely got your executives asking when your company is finally going to have its own AI agents. Today, I'm going to show you 3 biggest mistakes teams make when selecting an AI agent framework and how to avoid wasting months of development time and hundreds of thousands in investment. By the way, I'm Victor Mali. I've spent 3 last years building engineering teams and delivering state-of-the-art products with generative AI. Here's the thing. Over 70% of teams using complex agent frameworks would actually get better results with simpler solution. Yeah, you heard it right, simpler. So let's start with mistake number 1. And you've probably been there, right? You're looking at an AI framework and you see all these shiny features. Oh, it has chains, it has tools and memory, and it integrates with everything. It's like walking into the hardware store and buying a Swiss knife with 47 different attachments when all you need was just a screwdriver. Here's what happens in practice. Teams choose very popular frameworks like LangChain by default because, well, everyone's using it. For example, 112,000 GitHub starts. It has to be good. Then they spend 3 months building their AI systems and everything looks great in the demos. Later on, they got to production and suddenly they're spending more time debugging those LangChain abstractions than actually solving their business problem. Simple tasks that should take one function call were requiring 3 classes and 4 method invocations. They were literally fighting the framework every step of the way. You know what happens next? After another half of a year, teams rip it all out. Replace it with direct API calls. The entire code base becomes simpler, and as a result, the team becomes happier and more productive. So here's the insight. Before you even look at any feature, you need to ask yourself 5 fundamental questions about your use case. First, what exactly are you trying to automate? I mean, really specifically, not we need AI agents, but instead, we need to extract data from documents and answer questions about them, because different frameworks excel at different tasks. Second, how much control do you need? And I'm really serious about this one, because every layer of abstraction is a trade-off. You're trading control for convenience. And in production, when something breaks at 3 a.m., you're going to wish you had that control back. Third, very important, how is context managed? See, the current LLMs have this fundamental limitation. They start forgetting things after about 30,000 tokens. No framework can fix that at the moment, but some of them make it easier to work around. Fourth, and this one is really important, do you need a human in the loop? Because if you're doing something high stakes, you better have a way of humans to step in and stop your agent from doing something catastrophic. And finally, fifth, how much do security and governance actually matter in your particular use case? Because if you're in healthcare or finance, this isn't optional. But you know what? There is actually another mistake that's just as important. Let's talk about mistake number 2. And this one often catches teams by surprise. Everyone gets excited about day 1, building that prototype, getting that first demo working, impressing the executives. But what about day 2? That's when reality hits. Let me give you a common scenario. Teams build this beautiful multi-agent system. It can research topics, write reports, even collaborate between specialized agents, let's say. In the demo environment, it's magical. And then they deploy it. First problem, they have no idea what their agents are actually doing. These systems are black boxes. One day the agent writes a perfect report, and next, with the same input, it goes completely off the rails. And they have no way to debug it. And you know why? Because they never thought about observability. They didn't have proper logging, no tracing, and no way to see inside of agents' thought process. Okay, let's move to the second problem, and this is costs. This one hits really hard. In testing, each invocation of your AI system might be like 50 cents. But in production, with real users, with complex queries, with multiple retries, some workflows hit $50, like 50, you heard it right, per single AI workflow invocation. They face a cost explosion that nearly kills the product they have built. And what about the scaling issues? The framework that looked great for one user falls apart at 100 concurrent users. Response times go from seconds to minutes. So here's what you actually need to think about from day 1. Can you see what your agent is doing? I mean, really see it. Every LLM call, every tool invocation, every decision made. If you can debug it, you can fix it. And trust me, you will need to fix it very often. And another one is, how are you going to deploy this thing? Is it cloud native? Does it play nice with your existing infrastructure? How does it scale? Not just in theory, in practice, under load and with real data. And finally, what actually happens when things fail? Because they will certainly fail. And LLMs hallucinate, APIs time out, tools break. Does your framework handle this gracefully? Or does everything just stop? Okay, I lied. There's another one, but really critical. Think about, are you getting locked into a particular vendor? Because in a couple of months from now, when you realize you need to switch, how painful is that going to be? But even if you nail all of this, there's still one more mistake that could sink your entire product. And this is mistake number 3. Honestly, this is the big one. I know everyone right now is talking about agents, and maybe your competitors even claim that they already have some. The VCs want to hear about your agent strategy, but here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. Most so-called agentic use cases don't actually need any AI agents. Even the creators of major frameworks acknowledge this reality, like the founder of LangChain saying that not every project needs an AI agent. And think about it. What is an AI agent? It's a system where a model dynamically decides what to do. The AI is the decision maker here. Sounds powerful, right? But it's also quite unpredictable, expensive, and often unnecessary. You know what most teams actually need? A simple workflow, a predefined sequence of steps, and you, the developer, decide what happens when. It's predictable, it's debuggable, and it's efficient. Here's the real example to help you to understand the whole thing. A team was building a system to analyze customer feedback and generate reports. They started with this complex multi-agent setup. Agent for analysis, an agent for writing, agent for reviews, the whole thing. And 3 months in, they realized that their process was exactly the same every time. Read feedback, categorize it, summarize topics, and finally generate some reports. Or why would they need AI agents making decisions here? They wouldn't. And what they did next is just rebuild it as a simple workflow. 4 function calls, like direct to the LM APIs, and done. What was the result? Like 10x cost reduction, 5x performance improvement, and the system they could actually understand and maintain. So before you choose any framework, ask yourself this. Can you solve your problem with a single LM call and a good prompting? And if yes, just use the API directly. Seriously, it's faster, cheaper, simpler, and more predictable. If no, okay. Do you need a multi-step workflow with predictable executions? Use a workflow-oriented framework. Still no? Do you really need AI to dynamically decide on which actions to take, to orchestrate those tools on the fly, to have multiple AIs collaborating? If yes, then maybe, and I repeat, maybe you need an AI agent framework. But even then, keep it as simple as possible. Teams that successfully ship AI products focus on smaller building blocks. They understand their tools, they control their abstractions, and they prioritize what actually works over what's popular and hype. Remember that statistics I mentioned at the beginning, that over 70% of teams would get better results with simpler solutions? That's not because those teams are incompetent. It's because the entire industry has been caught up in the hype. We've been sold the idea that more abstraction equals less work, that the most popular framework must be the best choice. But what's the reality? The frameworks that promise to simplify AI development often introduce more complexity than they actually resolve. Successful teams use building blocks, not monoliths. They understand their tools. They control their abstractions. So here's key insight to remember, and it's a really important one. The biggest mistake in choosing AI agent frameworks is choosing an AI agent framework when you don't actually need one. Start simple, measure everything, and add complexity only when the use case really demands it. And as always, if this helped you to think differently about AI agent frameworks, hit that subscribe button. I'm sharing real-world engineering insights every week. No hype, no fluff, just what actually works in production. Cheers.